Hello, it's Kurt Jackson again. Thank you for coming back to part 2 in our video series here. We had just left off with talking about a laddering strategy, if you recall. Hopefully you just watched it and came right down to this one. So I'm going to pick up right where we left off. During our research, some of the factors that led us to this particular laddering strategy potentially are the feelings that going forward the returns in the market may be below historical averages. We also felt that inflation is likely to be higher than it has been in the last 15 years. Think about it, with all the money we're printing and everything, that's usually highly inflationary, and actually I'm very fearful of that going forward. Well, if inflation is likely to be higher, that normally means that interest rates would be higher. And in that combination, we also felt that with the credit crisis and the housing bubble, home appreciation rates are likely to be lower for the foreseeable future. But if you think about it, and honestly, if we're trying to create income for life, shouldn't we be basing a good bit of our projections or our assumptions on a worst case scenario anyway, just to be protected? So if market returns are going to be lower, then aren't you accepting a higher risk without higher returns? Is that a smart thing to do with your money? If inflation is likely to be higher, you're going to need higher returns to keep up with it, right? Well, most of the time when inflation has been higher, so have interest rates, right? And if interest rates are likely to be higher, it would make sense that home prices would have more trouble rising, especially when you factor in the horrible credit crisis, the housing bubble that we're experiencing through 2007, 2008, now into 2009. Home values are normally driven by incomes, but thanks to the crazy products that they had out there, they were not driven by income. And since it's probably going to be a long time before those crazy loan programs come back, if they ever do, we feel that home values are likely to be growing at a slower rate for the foreseeable future. Now, if the chances of those risks occurring is higher, would it be nice if there was a way to take some of your asset portfolio that is currently unmanaged and currently unprotected and put it into a vehicle that never goes down in value? In fact, it currently has a floor of 3.25%. So it's going to go up every year. Actually, it goes up every month. It's tied to interest rates. So if inflation goes up, all right, it's highly likely that the returns on this will too if it's tied to an interest rate. And in fact, if we looked at every 5-year period for the last 35 years, it's more than doubled the rate of inflation. And all the while it's doing this, it's also making sure that your house is safe, that you can stay in your house for life, and that you can access the equity in your house that's constantly growing. Now, do you feel your money's pretty safe if the retirement vehicle is government insured? That's really about the safest place it can be, even in today's environment. So, if you had the ability to utilize a government insured, let's call it a CD-like instrument, which allowed you to safely move a sizable portion of an asset that's currently unprotected and unmanaged into one that will grow every month, even when the market is down. As it grows, it's not impacted by taxes. Over time, it's enjoyed considerably higher rates of growth than CDs. It doesn't impact your Social Security income, and it can give you income for the rest of your life. If there was such animal out there, would you be open to exploring it? I know you're thinking, Kurt, this sounds too good to be true. Now let me tell you something. I don't disagree with you. In fact, when I first uncovered this strategy, I had to reread it 3 times, and then I called the government department that insures this to find out if what I had uncovered was in fact true. Well, it was. It actually has all the attributes that I've described, and even though there's no guarantee that history will repeat itself, when I look back over the last 35 years, I couldn't believe the growth rate of this particular tool. Now, I don't know if this tool and strategy is for you or not, but I can tell you this. It's definitely worth the little time and effort it takes to find out more about it. We do public seminars in our office every Thursday afternoon at 1:30. Seating's limited, so call the number that we've got up there on the screen or email me at the email address up there so we can get you your reservations. Or if you'd like to find out specifically what this could do for you and your individual situation, then call me or email me on that at those same numbers, and we'll set up a free consultation. Now, folks, don't be afraid if you come to our seminar or if you do a free consultation. Don't be afraid of being sold. You want to know why? I couldn't sell you if I wanted to. Since this government, it's a government-insured program, they have strict requirements on us. And they require that you talk to one of their counselors before we could even get the process started. Okay? So don't be afraid of that end of it. Now, also, I want you to think about this. Think about our 96% failure rate. And since your retirement is just that, yours, okay? Don't make the mistake of listening to well-meaning people in your life that really don't know what's best for you. So many of us fall into that trap of listening to those well-meaning people who are not experts in retirement income planning. And it's no wonder that we have a 96% failure rate when it comes to creating a lifetime of income. See, lifetime income is one of the most important aspects of your life. So don't put it in the hands of someone that's not an expert. If you needed open heart surgery, would you let your friend's husband do it for you because his wife's a nurse? Folks, that's just like listening to your brother-in-law because he's an accountant for IBM. And some people laugh at that analogy between a heart surgeon and a retirement income planning specialist. But I'm telling you what, if you run out of money before you die, that's probably more important than having a good open heart surgeon. All right? So call me or email me on the numbers I've got up there. Come to our seminar or set up a free retirement income planning session. I think you'll find that the information that is given is extremely valuable, and you may want to try to take advantage of it for your situation. You may not. There's no blanket thing to tell everybody, but I do think this will help more people than it is right now. So thank you for taking the time to visit. If you felt this information was valuable, let your friends know. We want to help as many people as we possibly can. Thanks for taking the time, and we hope to see you at one of our seminars or in a personal income planning session with me. Thanks.